Okay. Hi guys, welcome to episode 4
Woo!
of
Episode
Vinyl
4.
Podcast. Today we have a guest from Gishelle, actually.
I know. Look at me
Hey.
go. Okay, so today we have the incomparable, the lovely Qiana Conley Akinro.
That's right. What's up? What's up? What's up? Meow, 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 meow.
Okay, so Qiana is a seasoned music industry professional with a diverse career spanning A&R, music publishing, music supervision. Beginning at Epic Records, she contributed to projects by iconic artists such as Michael Jackson and Jennifer Lopez. She later excelled as the director of creative slash A&R, working with Simon Cowell's label and artists like One Direction. My personal favorite. Okay.
That's
We have yet to
iconic.
really have a conversation about that, but one day we're going to have to.
Yes.
Known for her innovative curation, she founded Cue the Creatives in 2011, providing music supervision for projects like Showtime's Flatbush Misdemeanors and Freeform's Hair Tales. Kiana's experience extends to executive producing film, TV, and live events, including documentaries and film festivals.
Right.
And then she also happens to serve as the executive director of the Los Angeles Chapter of the Recording Academy, demonstrating her commitment to the music community and advocacy.
Come on. Commitment to music community and advocacy. That's right.
Yes. So we want to thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
Happy to be here. This is interesting. I don't often hear my voice in real time.
Right.
So it's kind of like a cool and freaky experience. I don't know if I want to lean in
Yeah.
or lean out. It's different when you're not usually the artist. So,
Right. And then you can do both for dramatic effect.
Right. Ooh. They always told me I had good radio voice. So this is just like the inner little radio host in me is just like, yay.
We love that. Okay, so I did give a brief description about you, but is there anything that you feel like that I missed that you also want to add?
I mean, the obvious, hello, go Trojans, fight
Yes.
on forever.
Oh my gosh, I am slacking.
Hello, Trojan Slay since 19, I'm not gonna say when. No, but yeah, no, so many exciting things that you did mention, and it's kind of funny. This is actually 2 days in a row I've been here speaking to the next generation of Fight On Trojans just about being in the music business. And it's like this continual full circle for me to actually like be here with you all, be in Levy, be, walking on this campus, listening and talking with you about the future of music. It really does bring me back. Ironically, this is my 25th year in the music business. It's my 15th year owning Cue the Creatives, and it's my 10th year being credited as a music supervisor. So this particular year, 2025, means a lot. There's a lot of sort of milestones. And I do think it doesn't fall short on me that in this season, in this year of milestones, I'm returning to places that were a part of my foundation.
Yeah.
And really inspired. It's all coming together. And so I hope you guys also hear the other side of that is like, no matter where you are today, you will be fine.
Yeah.
25 years later, right?
Oh.
So don't worry so much about it. That's a special little nugget.
For the people out there.
For the people out there that are graduating, just chill. Life is good. Life has got you.
Real.
You'll be all right.
Nice. So just give us a brief description of like your background, growing up, what led you into music supervision, things like that.
Okay. So I'm a native Angelino. Shout out to all of our LA babies. I am actually from the South Bay. So I grew up in two cities, Hawthorne/Inglewood. And ever since I was a kid, I was, maybe 3 years old when I first hit a stage. I danced as a young kid. And throughout my childhood and into my teenage years, I was very active in musical theater. So, being on a stage, performing, being a part of a stage production kind of started for me early on and was always of interest to me creatively. Like all of my extracurricular activity centered around the arts, creativity. I didn't necessarily sing. I wasn't like music only.
Mhm.
I was definitely someone who liked to dance, someone who liked to act, someone who liked to write stories.
Multi-hyphenated.
Multi-hyphenated creative little individual, right? Just brain explosion all the time, right?
Yeah.
I got ideas, right? All the time. And then that led me to really focusing on that once I got into university here at USC. I actually was pre-med and pre-business at USC because I was a little bit of I'm a little left brain, right brain, hybridy chick. So I thought I was going to be a doctor.
Wow.
And then I got into the summer sort of bridge, early lab of it all and was like, I don't actually want to do this every day for the rest of my life. And before my freshman year, kind of that first semester started, I decided to declare my major as pre-business. And then because I wasn't thinking of my science brain anymore and letting that sort of lead my direction, I said, well, I have to go back to my arts brain.
Right.
So then I started figuring out of the arts minors or double majors, what made sense to me. And even though I wasn't a musician, I don't sing, I was a poet. So I did write songs, but I didn't sing them. I just felt really led to music. I felt like I really understood music and music really spoke to me. And as a dancer, I felt like when I heard a song, I could see the picture, which is really important and connects to the rest of my history. In the sense of I just felt connected to where music met other art forms. And so that led me to kind of do that minor in music industry here, which introduced me to opportunities to intern as well as to volunteer and work in, records. I worked for Paramount Pictures and I worked for a couple of other entities like that while I was in school and then shortly thereafter. So what led me to ultimately being involved in music supervision. Ironically, my first job ever in the music business was working as a third level assistant, almost like a third chair, right? Like a third level assistant for Sony Soundtracks.
Oh.
And so even though I was only there for 5 weeks. We're all like, ooh, but it only lasted 5 weeks. They were really
Something.
Right.
It was something, it tapped into the future.
There you go.
Unknowingly.
Right.
I was definitely
was a
brokenhearted when they broke up with me 5 weeks later. But it led me into thinking about music for visual media early in my career. And that stuck with me. So when I went into A&R, when I went into publishing, when I went back into working, in a studio system, in a recording system, recording artist world, I always thought about that work being used for picture or TV and film or video games, things of that nature. And so that just kind of honestly continued with me and it led me to music supervision. So having this background in A&R for record labels as well as A&R as a music publisher gave me an understanding of the creation of music and then I'm going to use the word, but the exploitation of music, just meaning how you're taking it from it just being created and sitting, in files to the commercial side of it, but also beyond just getting to your fans, like really putting it in other spaces that can kind of help tell the whole story of that work or that art or that artist. And so that's what led me to music supervision. Music supervision for me is just a continuation of my A&R brain. It's instead of having one artist and working on one album project and being in the world that artist wants to create, that world is now visual, right? So my artist is the TV project or the film, or the script. And I'm still trying to find the best songs for that artist to tell their story, right? So I use the same sort of brain as I would for A&Ring an artist project. And I love it. I love helping people like figure out their magic as they're creating their own work. It's so exciting to me and so inspiring to get the aha of like, oh man, that scene is so great with that song, or oh my gosh.
I totally
I love that.
Yeah.
That feeling and knowing that you were a part of like finding it, like finding that needle in the haystack discovery aspect. I really do really love that. And that carries into the work that I do at the company that shall not be named. But the work that I do at the Grammys is that I'm still a part of that process. I'm a part of helping creators maybe not work on a specific project, but stay connected to their inspiration, their hope, their discovery of collaboration, their passion around protecting their rights. That's still work that's really I really enjoy doing and kind of speaks to that part of me that I hunger for by being active in the music business. So yeah. Back to me.
And I feel like even through that journey, like you're talking about the discovery, I feel like that is still that use of that left and right brain.
Absolutely.
Because you're still being analytical, you're still having to problem solve, you're still having to
Absolutely.
like do all these things that we consider to only be like
I'm
this
figuring
left
out the
brain.
formulas.
Exactly.
Always
Yeah.
constantly figuring it. Giselle knows because we work together. And,
Yes.
she knows that my brain is always figuring troubleshooting. Like my
Yes.
brain is like, it loves to be a troubleshooting engine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I love that you found a way to combine those two aspects and make it into not necessarily something new, but something that most people don't know about.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you.
So speaking of troubleshooting,
Yeah.
I imagine that every day isn't the same.
Never.
Yes. So can you walk us through like one day? Like
I'll give you one day in the world of Qiana.
Yes,
So
okay.
I'm either, it's either like a Monday through Thursday, and I'm super focused on all things like Recording Academy world, which can be Zoom meetings all day, with screenings at night, or, on the way to the screening, I might stop in at a panel that's done at the Guitar Center, or I might be in the morning, before or for lunch, I might be meeting an attorney, or I might be ending my night, because I went to a screening and saw an old artist friend and they invited me to the studio. So I might be going to hear their new project. Like it literally can be that and has often been that. I'm in my more music supervisor mind. I'm on an active project because as a music supervisor, you're like, there's these concentrated like windows where, you're in the phase of finding music, then you're in the phase of presenting your music to the filmmakers or the TV execs, and then you're in your phase of doing the paperwork that's actually licensing the music that was selected, right? So in that world, the day is a little actually more similar. I feel like in the other world, it's a little bit crazier, but that day might be I'm listening to hundreds of pieces of music because I sent a brief out. I might be drafting the brief one day. The next day, I might be listening to 100 different pitches that were sent to me, and then organizing in Disco my favorite like playlist, like playlisting the things that should work. And then the next day I might be in the mixing studio and pitching music, or I might be on a Zoom call, with our editors playing back the selections that I made. Or it might be an all paperwork day. I might be sending out licenses, talking to attorneys, negotiating deals with managers, reviewing contracts. I might be pushing the accounting department to making sure that they're paying out invoices. Right. So it's to your point about my left-right brain use.
Yeah.
As my therapist says, you found a really good use for both sides of your brain. I'm like, yeah, being a music executive has allowed me to be both creative and both analytical, and it's worked. And my day is like that too.
Yeah. So that sounds like that you'd have lots of different, I guess, challenges throughout your day.
Yeah.
Focusing a little more on the music supervision side, what are some of your biggest challenges when it comes to selecting music? You're listening to all of these pitches, you have all of these options. How do you find yourself narrowing them down to like maybe a handful or something to be able to deliver?
Yeah. So I think the number one challenge around listening to music, there's so many great apps that help us to keep it all organized. So that part, that used to be a big challenge. Like, how do you like your own file management? But I mentioned Disco earlier. There's definitely other apps that help to keep the information, the music files and the stuff organized for you. So that's great. I think the number one challenge for me when it comes to listening is honestly burnout. It's not really burnout, but like it's a different phrase for it. Like
a fatigue of
fatigue.
sorts?
Thank you. It's the ear listening fatigue, right? Which I think you experience the same thing when you're listening for music for artists,
Right.
When I was A&R, like I'm listening to pitches all day long. So it's the same thing. So the ear fatigue is probably the only real biggest listening challenge. And I have to really, the planner of me has to really dedicate the days that I'm going to listen and the days that I'm going to break. I'm the same with my hours. So, I might go hard for 4 hours and then I might take an hour break. I might watch something on TV that's completely different creatively than what I'm working on to almost like refresh
Yeah,
the
like a
air,
palate cleanser.
like a palate cleanser, like a brain palate cleanser.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's
Totally right.
literally just like the fatigue physically, right?
Mhm.
So I might go work out, or I might, make sure I eat something different.
Mhm.
When I'm on a deadline and I'm having ear fatigue, brain fatigue, it doesn't even matter. There have been many a nights where it's been 3 a.m. and I started listening at 9 p.m. and I just gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
I have to listen because I gotta, I've gotta
You gotta-
deliver
Yeah.
my 10 ideas and I've got to get through all 100. And for me, some people are like, oh shoot, I found 20 that I kind of like. I'll just pick from there. Something in me can't do it.
Mhm.
I have to listen to everything that
Give him a chance.
I have to give everything a chance. It's so crazy. It's like bananas, Qiana. Like give yourself a chance. Like give yourself a break. But I can't help it. I feel like I don't want to miss the perfect song.
That gem could
That
be in
gem
there.
could be
Yeah.
number 99 of 100. I
Yeah.
can't stop at 20. Yeah, I got to listen to 100.
Right.
So that's the only personal challenge. And I think the part of me that really likes to find that magic gem
Mhm.
will sometimes, put more pressure on me physically than I probably should allow. But I don't know. It's a part of my magic and I'm not stopping it. It's a part of my talent.
Right.
Is my ability to like have good taste, to like know good ideas, to like just find the right song. And I'm never wrong.
Hey.
Because meaning like I have never been in a creative meeting with a director or a filmmaker or showrunner that they haven't like loved when I like that I haven't had that like, oh my God, I love you so much. You found the right song, like the perfect song
Mhm.
on budget.
Right,
So
yeah.
I know I'm good at what I do. So my flow works and I just make it work. But the funny thing about that is when I am stressed like that,
Mhm.
it's all about the sugar. I'm like baking cakes, making pies while I'm listening to music.
Okay. That kind of
multitasking.
yeah, I was gonna say multitask. We love that.
So I'll like take that break at the 4 hours to go like make the cookies that I'm gonna eat at hour 8.
Right.
Like
Whatever works.
whatever
Yeah.
works. So yeah, if you guys want to help me, send me sweets, donuts, please.
I love that.
Yes.
So finding the gem of it all in like hundreds of songs, that's like one aspect of being like rewarded, right?
Yes.
What is the most rewarding aspect of your job in music supervision?
Supervision. Yeah, the most rewarding aspect is kind of when it's all said and done and you're watching the project. So whether that's on the big screen or you're at home because it's a TV project, or even like recently for Little Kev, the project that I just did that came out on BT Plus about Kevin Hart's life. The highlight for me was to sit in the screening room at Heartbeat Productions with DJ Quick, who I helped
Ooh.
to get on the project to do the theme song,
Yeah.
and watch him watching the theme song start off and kind of like geek out on like him
Right.
in animation. It was like his first time doing anything like that. And so like he's DJ freaking Quick. Like he's had many a highs, right? And like for that to be like something special for him, like that's a high for me. Like to be a part of that process, or even like seeing the completed work, right? And then, yeah, seeing your name is a little bit of a high, right? Like seeing your name in the credits because you think about all that it took to
Yeah.
just give people this 30 minutes of enjoyment,
Yeah.
and the part that you played in that, and how crucial music really is to storytelling,
Agreed.
right?
Oh yeah.
And so to know that like when people are like bobbing their head or they're feeling it, or like another big high for me related to the end of the project, I have so many people that'll like find my name in the credits and DM me just to tell me how much they liked that song in that one episode. And that's like an unspoken high. Like no one other than us on this podcast right now will ever know that happened. Right? Like no one knows that this person DM'd me privately to let me know that, man, I really love the way you use Fela Kuti and like Flatbush Misdemeanors. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that little
Right.
that
like you saw
that
me
moment.
in a
You
way.
saw me.
Yeah.
You saw me. I think that's everyone, right? Everyone just likes the high of being seen and their work appreciated. But yeah, there's other bigger things, but those are like genuine highs for me. I really do enjoy that, and kind of connecting with people all around the world in this very subtle, unseen way, where they do really appreciate your mind, your creativity as a music supervisor, as an artist. as a music supervisor, it's a part of our art form, just the same
Right.
way a visual artist loves to see people watching people in the museum appreciate their work.
Right.
It's very similar.
I feel like people don't really appreciate like soundtracks as much.
More.
But
No.
every movie I watch, I will base my rating on that movie based on if the soundtrack is good.
Come on
Yeah.
now.
Because because it really does set the atmosphere for the movie. And if it like throws the movie off, I just don't like the movie anymore.
Yeah.
It can ruin it.
Yeah.
And it
Exactly.
can also like take a really bad movie and make it kind of good.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That happened to me yesterday. So I'm actually in an elective where we watch movies every week.
Oh, love it.
And we were watching a film yesterday. I can't talk about the film because it
That's
doesn't
right.
come out for another 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But I was listening to the music in it and I was like, I wish it was better.
See?
Like, and it captivated in some parts. Like the score was okay, but the actual soundtrack of like you picked
the
these
needle
songs.
drops, the songs that they pick.
Really?
Yeah.
This was your choice?
Yeah.
That was me with
Uh-huh.
Venom. That was me with Venom.
Yeah.
Fans.
Yeah.
I had memories at the end. I was like, bro, this is so corny. I did not enjoy that.
Yeah,
I wish
see?
like, and that's what brought my rating for that movie down. I usually like the Venom series, but what the heck happened?
Yeah.
I was so conflicted. And then but at the end of the movie they had a banger and I was like, well, so how am I supposed to feel?
Right. Exactly.
Like, do I like this? Do I hate? I don't
Like, we gotta
understand.
figure something out.
I love it. I love the fact that you guys are just even talking about it. It's great.
So we've talked about, having to be like detailed. We've talked about having the ear. We've talked about being organized. Are there any other qualities that you feel like are necessary to be a music supervisor?
Oh, yeah. I definitely think that you have to have a curiosity and an interest in a diverse catalog of music. Like your brain has to be the type of person who really is not sort of just focused on one genre type. Like you have to kind of like all kinds of music. And I know we all say we all like all kinds of music, right? But you also have to have the ability to not only be broad enough, but to also know how to specialize, right? So, for example, if you're assigned to a project that is like, for example, I was assigned to a film that was a documentary set in Cuba, and what the filmmakers wanted to use was Spanish guitar music.
Okay.
That would predominantly be created and performed by Spanish people because they wanted to tell that part of Cuba's influence in that way. But then they also wanted me to look at native Cuban artists to kind of like sprinkle in and then also because we didn't use like a traditional composer for that project, we were using the Spanish guitar selections that we licensed as score, and then we were using like the Cuban artists as kind of like those needle drops, those like special moments in the film. And so I had to then become an expert in those two areas, right? Which meant I had to have the curiosity to discover that music if I hadn't already been familiar with it, right? And so I think it served me well because I have a natural appreciation for all types of music. I have a natural curiosity for culture. So it's easy for me to say, okay, for this season, creatively, I'm going to just deep dive into these sort of subgenres in these two worlds and then become an expert in a short amount of time. And so that's a part of what you have to be able to do. That does happen to all of the other things, the skill sets we talked about.
Yeah.
But I think creatively, like you've got to have a curious mind that can also hyper focus.
Ooh, love that.
Which is interesting.
A genre that you absolutely cannot get into.
Ooh, in terms of film, movie, TV genre or music genre?
Give me both.
Give you both. Okay.
Like you just can't.
There's not like a film, TV, music genre that, because in other words, I don't think that there's a project of any like film or TV music genre that I wouldn't take a stab at if someone offered me an opportunity. I will say I haven't done horror yet.
Okay.
So it's not that I can't get into it. I love, I like more like quirky horror
Okay.
Chucky.
versus, like the Chuckies, like the I Know What You Did Last Summer, like that kind of funnier, comedic kind of horror. Like, but I don't mind you scaring me, like, and like genuinely, like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I'm not really into the like spiritual horror, right?
Ooh, yeah,
Like the
no.
horror that like wants to like get into your
Like,
soul and
yeah.
your spirit. Like
Yeah.
I'm not into that
No,
as
I'm
much.
not
Like I'm like,
either.
and
No,
make
thank
you
you.
know, I'm like, don't play. There's certain things I'm like, don't play with that, just because
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
I don't really know what you're doing to me, and I
Right.
just don't. That's not for me. But so I probably wouldn't music supervise anything like that because I wouldn't be able to give them what they would need, which is for
Right.
me to like fully give myself to the project.
Right.
As it comes to music genres, no, man, I've worked in so many genres all around the world that there really isn't anyone that I don't like. I really like music.
Okay.
And I really like good, authentic, passionate music creators. So it's very hard for me to go into a world that I'm not familiar with and judge it.
Yeah.
Like it's just hard for me to do it. When I started as a publisher at Notting Hill, they were predominantly a heavy metal and a hardcore like hip hop
That's
library, which is
Okay. Yeah.
but you know,
Two
but they're
different.
but they're also friends.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're like the bad boys,
Yeah.
right? So they're gonna hang out and they might party together, right?
Exactly.
So and so I understood. I was like, this makes sense. This says a lot about you, owners
right.
of this company, and what you feel connected to. But it was really interesting to me because I'm more of a pop crossover top 40, like my personal taste
Mhm.
person. And probably also my energy. Like it's bubbly. I'm a musical theater kid wrapped with a little bit of like a dance background that's
Okay.
also like intuitive and writes poetry. Like that's
Yeah.
me, right? So and then I like all kind of cultures. Like none of that screams hardcore hip hop or death metal
Or death,
necessarily, right? So here I would come into their performances, like they'd be at the Whiskey or the Roxy or whatever, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm your rep," and they're like, "Okay, right."
Oh.
So I would say that's my closest experience to that question, which is like it's not again like I was cool with it, but I could definitely I know that sometimes the energies may not exchange in the same way, but yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed working in those genres and found my love in different acts in those genres that I worked with at the time. So yeah, that's me. Yeah.
You want to go? You want me to go?
You go.
All right. So we have talked about how this has been a monumental year in
Yes.
all of the different things that you've done. So
And
how
artists.
has so how has the landscape changed over that time of doing the music supervision or even you going back to your A&R? Like how do you think the landscape has changed?
In terms of the industry itself?
Yeah.
I think that's a really good question, and a question that I kind of often ponder just myself, just like internally, like how are things different? How are things the same? I think the return to a focus on independent artists and empowering independent artists to do things for themselves, own things for themselves. That was a lot of the conversation in this other USC fest that I was a part of earlier this week. Was that like this is a time for you to be an independent artist and to like own things yourself, and like you don't have to give everything to the majors, right? Like that's kind of what this indie artist was saying, and I agree with that. I do think it's a very good time in the industry to be an independent artist. 25 years ago, it was a very good time in the industry to be an independent artist. You had a lot of small labels that were being backed by the majors. And then somewhere over the last like 20 years, they all got gobbled up. Then they became the major again. And now it's kind of like funneling back down into a bunch of independents, right?
Yeah.
So like that to me is just the wave. And I heard it from my mentors when I was, younger and first in the industry is that everything kind of moves in this 20 to 25 year cycle. And so I think what's most interesting for me when I'm looking back is like, it is happening. It's all new and also not new at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's usually because of things like technology or law or just like the world, how the world will have this like flow of like coming together, separating. Like the world really moves like a sine graph. Like it really genuinely does in all
When you
aspects.
said sine graph, I
Sorry.
got scared.
I know. I'm sorry. The math in me popped out. No, but it just does. And I think that just gives me more calm because I've seen it now for myself. I've seen that cyclical
Kind of like seeing the
nature
future a little bit.
in a weird way. So like now I don't know exactly who the next Beyonce is going to be, but I know there's going to be another Beyonce.
Right.
Right.
Someone's popping up.
I'm just saying Lady Gaga is turning is turning into Madonna. Like, like
Becoming like this legacy artist and like,
it's going there. It happens. And so I'm excited to see who in this generation will be who we think are the icons of this era in 10, 15 years. Right. And so, and then that means professionals too. I'm really excited and to see how the next generation becomes those business minds behind the industry as well. So that's one of the things that I think for me personally, how that evolution of the last 20 years is now um, impacting and bringing thought to my own future. You know, I am interested in things like education. I am interested in things like the academic landscape of the music business and music creators, or lack of that. I am interested in how you guys are continuing to challenge politics and business of the industry and integrate other things you're learning from your friends in other industries and helping this music industry have life. I am interested in a lot of that, which is why doing things like this is helpful for me and interesting to me. I like to have dialogue, you know, with the next generation. So that's how that's kind of connecting for me.
I love that.
That probably was all around the question.
No, I feel like
great.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, we are on the Vinyl Verdict podcast.
Yes.
Okay, let's
Which
go.
means
Final verdict.
we are going to talk about uncomfortable questions
Oh.
about being a woman in the music industry.
And a woman of color at that.
Yeah.
Adding all those.
Double.
Yeah.
Whammy.
Yeah. So
Got it.
is your opinion on the status of the music industry right now? Are we as women, people of color, progressing, or are we kind of plateauing?
No, definitely never plateauing. I mean, you can't. We're human beings, right?
Yeah.
So like, and humans are just never gonna, in my opinion, just hit. I think we might hit a level that will require us to dig deeper, right? And then we'll kind of elevate again, right?
Sign graph.
So yeah, sign graph. I'm telling you, sign graph is the answer of life. Little did I know when they were teaching it to me in high school that it was going to mean so much to me many moons later. But I say as a black woman in today's music business, I think it's a really good time for us. We are more, we're in more spaces of power and decision making than I think we've ever been before.
Okay.
I think as a woman of color in general, we are definitely in more spaces of decision making with hands on the reins or on the, you know, the pocketbook or the purse than we've ever been before. Meaning like we are able to not only have support ideas that we believe in, we're able to have the resources to really see them move in the ways that we know that they should go, in the ways that we decide that they should go. We're, you know, leading in a lot of areas of marketing and social media and influence, and as well as being the artist, where I think, you know, women of color have often been in those roles primarily. Oh, it's so fine for you to be the singer.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's so fine for you to maybe be the songwriter, but you can't own the label.
Right.
Right. Oh, no, you can't decide the marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was coming up, there were not women of color in those positions. Maybe a publicist, but not the head of marketing, not necessarily the video director, not the person that was necessarily running the publishing company. That's different. You know, definitely women of color and particularly Black women, I think, are very prevalent in those spaces. Shout out to all of you. You guys, my sisters, you know who you are. And then I think there's opportunity for us to continue as people of color, and especially as women of color, women identifying of color, to continue to come together and create opportunities for each other, owned by ourselves. I think that we need to continue to push as people of color in general for ownership. I do think that part hasn't progressed enough.
Yeah.
It has progressed, but not enough. Because, you know, what I heard in one comment from an independent artist at that other festival here was that, you know, he's still walking. See, I'm on a different side of it now because I'm like music supervisor. So I'm like usually at home, licensing stuff, talking to people on Zoom, or I'm in my Grammy land. So I'm usually talking to people at the point of celebration of a job well done 2 years after they started a project, right? Or come and do some advocacy work with me. I'm not walking into the record labels and the publishing talking deals like I used to, right? So when I'm hearing other independent artists say like when he's walking into the rooms, he's not seeing people that reflect him
Mm.
in 2025. That
Mhm.
feels scary to me. This is a
Right.
man who is Mexican and Black, you know, mixed race, who's from LA, who is putting out, doing music for television, but he's still walking into record labels and not seeing himself reflected.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
kind of,
scary.
that's scary
Yeah.
for me, because you would think that it would be more of that, you know,
Especially in LA.
especially in LA, you know. And so that is something concerning to me, that I think we've got to figure that out a little bit more. And that may, someone else, um, another Asian LGBTQ plus woman who is a part of our Grammy family, a Nexter, shout out to Alex Ritchie. She mentioned to me in a conversation that we were having that we need to have more conversations with independent artists around private equity. And I think all of that circles in the same space, right? Like, how do we know that independents are having a great time, but how do we keep giving them the tools that they need to continue to see the finances and the funding to support all the things that they want to do, that they want to own?
Yeah.
And I do think that that is something that I'm really interested in seeing, how that continues to evolve and how we progress in those areas.
I have to keep track of that.
Okay. So
I'm a talker. I apologize.
you're good. I'm just digesting everything. That was
Yeah.
that was that side. I wasn't doing it as disappointment.
No problem. No problem.
So let's say there's a young, bright mind, straight out of college.
Someone like us.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yourself.
Right.
What is some advice you would give to that person who's looking to get into your position?
Into my position as an independent music supervisor.
Yes.
My points of advice regarding that is definitely, there's always something to be said in this industry, in any creative industry, about apprenticeship. Apprenticeship could come through an actual internship. It could come through coordinator, freelance coordinator position as an independent contractor. It could come through having a mentor that you have a regular schedule of meeting with. It could come from, working for a company that is doing music for visual media, right? But the whole point is like, find a way that you can be under someone's expertise. And I think that goes for any job really, but even more so for music supervision, because it is a very niche community and it's a super specific skill set. And even though everyone thinks that they can do it, it's not always the case. Like, there's much more to it. It's not something that you can just like fall into because you kind of like to do playlists on, on your Apple phone.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you can do this job. And so you really have to get exposure into the inner workings of what it takes, both creatively and administratively, to be a good music supervisor. And then you can work on crafting your own style in that. So I think that that's something that people that want to pursue music for TV and film don't often think about. They're like, oh, I've got friends that are, young filmmakers. I can be the music supervisor for that. That's a good testing ground. I don't think that is wrong. I think it should accompany getting some real skill set from people who are already established.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about music supervision is most of us are independent, meaning most of us run our own business, own our own business, always need extra help, and a lot of what we do, your support for us can be done remotely. So no matter where you are in the world, if you have an interest in music supervision, you can tap in. You don't necessarily have to be in LA to be a music supervisor or a music supervisor's like clearance person or coordinator. So I think that that's kind of a unique thing, where sometimes other crafts do in the music business may require you to kind of live in a certain area if you really want to learn more about that, or even other genres, right? Like if you want to be a country artist, like at some point you got to live in the South.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, no offense to those country artists out here doing it in LA, but like at some point you got to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Right. Yeah.
Memphis,
yeah.
Atlanta,
Shout out Atlanta.
Shout out Atlanta. And like talk to the people who are like
Doing
really
the thing.
running the thing,
Yeah.
right? So you don't necessarily have to do that for TV and film. People don't realize that.
Okay, so we always end our show with what we consider a silly question. Okay,
go on,
it
silly
has
questions.
nothing to do with any of the things we've talked about this whole time.
Okay.
And we'll give you an opportunity to think about it. We'll answer first.
Okay.
So our question for today is: if you could switch bodies with any artist for 1 week, who would it be?
You guys are going first.
We'll go first.
Yes.
I've actually been thinking about this all day, and it's not Beyonce for once.
Oh.
I know. It's
That's-
always Beyonce. My answer is always Beyonce. But I don't think I could handle the level of stress. Well, it's probably not even stressful for her. It would be stressful for me. Of like, what does your week look like? You're a mom, you run businesses, you're an artist, you got a tour coming up, you got an album rollout coming up. Like, I can't handle that. Too much. But I do think, which would be weird, I would do a little gender bending. Won't lie to you. Yeah. And I would love to be Giveon. Okay.
Oh, nice.
I love his voice. I would just sing all day for a week, walking around, making little voice notes, singing little things. And I would be curious because I am, a 5'2" on a good day.
Yeah.
Black woman. I would love to be a closer to 6 foot, dark skinned, tall man. Like, I want to figure this out. Like, I want to see what doors that unlocks. Like, pretty privilege comes in all different types of ways. I want to see what that pretty privilege does.
That part.
So I would
Love
be
it.
Giveon.
Come on.
I want to be a diva,
Oh,
right?
Okay.
But I don't want to do diva work.
Oh, there it is. Ooh, I know the perfect artist for you.
Well, okay, because I don't know who I want to be.
I think a good diva, but I don't want to do diva work. Sade. Sade is a world-renowned queen that you only hear about every 8 to 10 years,
right?
When she feels like it,
or definitely once in a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon. Okay, that's a queen. That's like that. Who else? There's a few of the divas that are like that. I think Barbara Streisand is a diva like that.
Okay.
Beyond established.
Yeah.
She's working on a new project now. Oops, I don't know if I was supposed to mention that. Sorry to the person that told me.
It'll come out.
It's gonna come out. Either way. You guys got an exclusive.
Here we go. Our first exclusive is the final verdict.
Took 4 episodes.
But I think, someone like that, like she is picking and choosing when she's coming out of the house and what she wants to do and how she wants to do it. And that's a great life. She earned it. She earned it.
Yeah.
Barbara earned it. So those would be the 2 divas I would say. You give me Barbara Streisand, meet Sade.
Okay.
I love that. Crossroads. Yeah, when worlds collide.
For me, it was so hard. And I was like, I am going to listen and think, which is really going to be a task, because the way my brain thinks, like sometimes I'm like, wait, can you repeat that? Because I missed the listening part. But I loved hearing what you said, moving with the gender bending of it all. Yeah. I think that as far as like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm gonna pick Lenny Kravitz.
Ooh, I love that answer. Yeah.
And let me tell you why. First of all, of course, I want to sing American Woman to like thousands of people at whatever festival that everyone's super excited for me to do. Of course, I want to act in the random movie and like kill it with like the special role that was like just only meant for me.
Yes.
Of course, I want to forever be the sex symbol. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I don't care what his age is, hair, no hair. This man just,
he is aging like fine wine.
Oh, come on, Lenny. Yes, Lenny. Of course, I would want to have like a badass actress, daughter.
Yeah.
Come on, Zoe.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have such a
and then have all of that great family connection and closeness and that love, that shared like people love, I love that he touches all genres, all cultures, his mother, that lineage of amazing Black female actress that he comes from, and his father. Like, I just love, I would totally like to be that. And then last but not least, I saw this, some like architectural digest or something, one of those sorts of YouTube channels where he did a special about his kick-ass ranch compound property in the middle of Brazil. And he was just living and he was giving you a tour. Y'all go check that out. And now that's my last real reason why I'd want to be Lenny. I'm like, I just want to, he comes in on his like, oh, welcome to my home on a horse in the middle of like Oh, I'm Lenny Kravitz. Just welcome to, and then you walk into the kitchen and it's like all of this natural fruit, and his chef is just cooking, and his friend that he's been writing songs with all week is just like chilling. I was like, I need to live the Lenny life. So that's my point. That's my pick for the day.
I love that. And we are right on time.
Yes, we
Yes.
are.
So yes, thank you for listening for today's
Yes,
episode. This
thank
has
you,
been great.
Qiana,
And
for
thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. This has been an amazing talk.
Yeah, same here. Great questions, ladies, and congratulations on all your success. Yeah.
Can they find
Where
you
can
on
the people
social?
find
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
you can find me. You can find me mostly on IG. You can find me in a lot of places, but where I really am is on the Instagram, and it's Q of the Golden Coast. And this is a little bit of a homework assignment. How do you spell Q? This is your hint, like a music cue. All right.
I love
So if
that.
you know what I'm putting down, then
Right.
you'll pick it up. Q, as in a music cue of the Golden Coast, is where you can find me.
All right. Well,
Thank
thank you so much. Yeah.
and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.